Hey everybody, Matt with Freestand here. We have a special guest on the show today, Lucas Macklai, sorry, I butchered that again, even though I asked right before. Anyway, so Lucas is a virtual teacher, and he doesn't work. When I say virtual teacher, I don't mean he works for a public school district and he's teaching online right now. He's actually an independent contractor that teaches virtually through a website called Vipkid. Um, and it's really cool. There's kind of this whole new wave of teaching that's going on, that was like going on prior to the pandemic happening in the first place. And it's really cool. So I'm excited to talk to you. How are you today?
I'm good. It's a good day. It's a little bit crappy outside today. I don't know how it is over here, but I'm good.
And where are you located?
I live in Toronto.
Oh, in Toronto. Very
Yeah,
cool.
Canada.
Really cool city. I've been there one
Mhm.
time.
Nice.
So anyway, Lucas, if you could just give a little bit of a background on how you got started with Vipkid in the first place, what the platform is, kind of what you do, that'd be awesome.
Okay. So I found Vipkid actually through LinkedIn. I was just kind of looking for education jobs just in general. And jobs like this kind of kept popping up um, from different companies as well. So I thought, why not? It seems flexible. So I gave it a try. Um, I did a little mini interview with one of their people, and then I had to do a demo lesson. So basically, they do like a 10-minute little mini lesson with you teaching one of their staff who pretends to be the student, just to gauge kind of your teaching skill. And then basically I got accepted. So I sent in all of my credentials, like my degrees and everything like that, anything I had. And basically within 2 weeks of that, I think, it was a while now. I've been teaching for a year and a half with them almost. So basically within 2 weeks, I was like ready to go. And you just start, basically you make your own schedule. It's by appointment. So basically you open up time slots where you are available to teach, and then the students would book those time slots. So basically you choose when you're available, um, and then you just start building your client base, build up regulars who take your class multiple times, and just kind of have to market yourself a little bit.
That's really cool. And it is Chinese kids, right? So you're teaching English to Chinese kids, right?
Yeah, so the company is based out of China. So the vast majority, I'd say like 98, 99% of them are from China. I have had students uh, from Japan, one lived in Thailand, and even some who lived in like Canada and in America who were Chinese based originally, and then they just have the connections there, so they are able to book the classes.
Got you. And they just fill up they have tons of different students that you can link with, and then you choose when you want to work, and then you select a student. Like how does that work exactly?
So the students select you. So basically, you make your schedule, you open up whatever slots. It goes overnight because of the time change with China. So basically, right now, the first slot starts at 8:30 p.m. and then that runs and they're open. You can open up all night up until I believe 9 a.m. now. So it's all night you could do, but I've done just mostly more early mornings and kind of the evenings on some nights. So basically, you open up your slots and a little bit of ahead of time just to give them time to book. And then the parents or the children themselves, depending on how old they are, will choose whatever time they're available. They see your class, they can see your profile, so kind of what your skills are, what credentials you have, um, what your strengths as a teacher are. So they kind of try to match what they are looking for in a teacher. They have learning partners to help them over there as well, to help them kind of match them as well. But basically they choose you. So you kind of have to do a little bit of self-marketing. You can put little videos on your profile to kind of show your personality, show your skills. And then the easiest kind of thing to do is then to start building up regulars. So once you have a new student, you want to kind of build rapport with that student, make sure their first lesson is a really good one that will make them want to come back.
Got it. So when you open up your schedule, is it, if you say you open up your schedule and you said it was from like 8:30 p.m. to what, 9 a.m., right?
Yep.
Because they're in China.
Hmm.
So if say you selected, 6 a.m. or 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., right? Like you
Yep.
just wanted to do, those hours, 3 hours. Um, is it pretty much guaranteed that they're automatically going to fill that up for you? Or is it kind of just like hit or miss? How random is it? And
Yeah.
over time, do you build more kind of like rapport with the platform where you have like ratings and stuff? Or is
Mhm.
there anything like that?
Yeah. So basically, it's not guaranteed. Basically, you're at the mercy of um, just the winds of whatever's going on in China. So you can get a lot of bookings during times like when the kids are off school. So and they have more time to do these extra classes. So kind of like during the Chinese New Year, they get a month off of school. So there's really busy time back then in that kind of like January, February period. And then there's some times where it's not so busy. So for me, I book my normal schedule. I open up from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. So that 3 hours in the morning. And it doesn't start off being like gangbusters right away. You're getting bookings, full slots. You kind of have to build up that little client base. So I have regulars who I've taught for almost 100 lessons now. Like I have a
Wow.
couple students, yeah. So I've taught them over 100 times. They just keep coming back. You have a good rapport with them. I have one who tells me jokes all the time. He's ready to come to class, stuff. He with a new joke every time. Um, and yeah, so it's kind of really it. It's a little bit of work at the beginning. It's not guaranteed income, which is one of the risks with it. But the reward is that you get to basically build your own schedule and you're working on your own hours. They don't require a minimum amount of classes that you teach in a week or anything. If I wanted to take the week off and like go on holiday or something, I could and just like not open any slots and be totally free. But also the remote nature of it also means I could teach from anywhere. I could just like open a few slots and teach from my hotel room.
Yeah, that's amazing. And do you do this full time or do you have another job?
I use this as supplementary income. So basically, this pays my rent, and then I have my other job for like savings and stuff. So uh, there were times, especially like with the pandemic and lockdown, where I was making a lot more with this job as well, because I wasn't getting a lot of hours at my other job because it's in person and things were closed. So I was thankful to be able to kind of pivot in that direction and really kind of switch the dynamic of my jobs and like have this one be the main one and then my other job be the supplementary one.
Yeah, that's really cool. What's amazing about this is and what is it, like $25 an hour or something like that?
So yeah, so you get paid per class, and a normal class is 25 minutes. So it depends on your base rate.
That's a
Depending
short
on your
class.
Yeah, so well because you're teaching mostly for little kids, so you could teach as early as like 4 years old, and then I've taught as old as 18. So the earlier levels are 25 minutes, and then once you get to the higher levels, you do like a double class. So it's it's an hour, but they get like a 10-minute break in there.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because their attention spans, of course, are
Yeah, for sure. They're children, and
yeah,
they've got to.
they're little
It's
kids.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
could you imagine having a
Uh,
4-year-old sit there in front of a
For
computer for an hour?
Yeah, the computer thing is the crazy thing. Yeah, because like you could do it in a classroom, I guess. Like right
Hmm.
when we all went to elementary school, like
Yeah,
that was normal for an hour. But on a computer, staring into a screen is probably
yeah,
tasking. Um,
absolutely.
and what are the rates though? So it's per class, but what
Yeah.
exactly do they pay?
Okay, so you have a base rate, which is dependent on the offer that they give you when you start. So that's based on your credentials. So if you have a degree, you're eligible for more as opposed to if you are just like you have like a regular certificate from like an online course or something. Depends on you can get things based on how well I think your demo class goes and your interview. If they think you're really good, they might offer you more right up front. And then so on top of that base rate, you get a bonus incentive based on how many classes you teach per month. So basically you're put in a tier based on how many cumulative classes you teach. And then as you teach more classes per month, within that tier, there are different rates. So basically for my tier that I'm in, for the first 20 classes of a month, I get an extra 80 cents per class.
Okay.
And then if I teach, like say 20 to 40 classes, it's an extra $1.20. 60 to 90, it goes up, and it goes up just depending on how many classes in a month you teach. So you do get rewarded for
We're
trying to
doing
fill
more
your
classes.
schedule more in a month. But there is still a base rate. And it's pretty decent. Because I teach in Canada, I live in Canada, but they pay as an American. There is a nice exchange rate. So
Yeah.
it definitely is it's a fair for what you're doing.
And are you like comfortable sharing what it is? I'm just curious.
Okay, sure. So my base rate is $8 per class. So for a 25-minute class, I get paid $8 American plus whatever the incentive is for that class.
Okay, great.
So
So
then for an hour, it would be $16 an hour plus the incentive.
$16 an hour plus the incentive. Let's just say this incentive's $1.
Yep.
Right? That's about right? Right? Usually.
Yeah, it could
Ish.
be. That's a bit of a lower incentive, but yeah.
All right. So we're gonna call the incentive $2. All right, and
Okay.
the incentive's $2, so it's $18 an hour. That's I mean, you do it's 18 times 3, you do 3 hours in the morning, right? That's
Hmm.
$56 extra in the morning before you even start your regular job.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you can do that so easily is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's remarkable. I heard about this company like on somebody's podcast, and then I looked it up and I didn't really understand what it was. Um, and usually, what's with a lot of these like kind of freelance and contract work sites, it's difficult because it takes a really long time to build up a clientele and start working with people. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it's just so competitive, and you're never guaranteed anything at all. But with this, it sounds like, yes, obviously it varies, but for the most part, like the company's pretty good at feeding you clients.
Yeah. Yeah, like I
Right?
said, it starts like they do have incentives for new teachers. So the parents will choose new teachers that have no kind of prior experience on the site. So there are incentives for that. And then yeah, there's a huge client base of students. China's a big country.
Yeah.
There's lots of kids that are able to book your class. So there is definitely lots of opportunity. And then a lot of it is on you. So kind of making sure those kids have a good opportunity, a good experience with you the first time, so that they'll come back and try again. I've had kids who have like told their friends, and then I have a new student show up, and he's like, "I'm friends with so and so," and I'm like, "Oh, that's so cool! Now I have two of you guys."
Yeah, that's awesome. And would you do two of them at once, or is it only one-on-one
Mm,
sessions?
So for the majority of the course packs, it's one-on-one. They are now offering a group course. Um, I don't teach that, but so I can't speak too much to it. But I believe it's like between 4 to 6 kids you could get,
Hmm.
up to 6 kids at a time.
I wonder and do you need like different qualifications, or maybe you need to be on the platform for a longer period of time before they let you do that or something?
Yeah, so I believe it's still in its trial, that program. You don't need any sort of like different like degrees to teach it, but they did offer it to, like they sent out an email offering the certification for this course to certain teachers, I know. So basically to do it, if you get the email, they send you like a little there's a certification course that you have to do
Mhm.
just on their platform. And once you finish that, then you're certified.
Got it. And do you have any idea what Vipkid charges? So like I don't know if it's standard, like the student pays like a standard rate per class and then they take a percentage, or I don't know if they like pay like a monthly fee in general and then they can get like a certain amount of classes.
Mm.
Do you know how any of that works?
I don't know the numbers. I believe that the students pay like for a course pack. So there's the standard, they call it major course. So basically that's just like the moving up through the levels 1 through 8 now. Um, and so uh, that's just the kind of the standard. You do grammar, reading, vocabulary, things like that. And then there's supplementary courses, which I think would be an extra kind of course fee. So like I have a course that I teach, and it's science-based. So we teach about like outer space. There's one about
Oh, that's
dinosaurs.
so cool.
They can take all sorts of different
I
different interests that they want to learn about specifically. So they learn like the English vocabulary for these things.
got it. So English is the main thing, but on top of
Mhm.
that, they layer in like some of these other courses that are obviously in English too, like other
Yeah,
simple courses.
yeah. So the courses are not just like sitting there and remembering verb conjugations in a vacuum. Each unit is based on like a different topic. So like I know for some of the younger ones, the topics are like my family. So you learn about like people in your family or colors or shapes and stuff. And then like so I teach more of the older kids. So I teach from level 4 to up to level 8, plus any supplementaries that fall in that range. Um, so some of our units, like for level 4, I teach about different jobs that people have. So we learn the vocabulary for the jobs, and then there's grammar interspersed throughout that lessons. And then as you go higher, they get a bit more abstract sometimes. So like with level 7, I have one, and it's about self-expression. And we learn just different ways that people express themselves. We talk about art, music, poetry, and things like that.
It's really cool. Um, and in terms of like signing up, if somebody's listening and they want to work with Vipkid and become an independent contractor, how does that work? You said that like you obviously they want people with degrees, but you don't need a degree, right?
When I started, I don't think you needed one. I'm not sure if they're. I. Oh no, so it's you need a degree, but it can be anything. Like it doesn't need to be a teaching degree.
Okay, but it needs to come from like a 2 year or 4 year
Yep,
college.
yeah. So an accredited kind of university or college.
What about, do you know if they accept like online colleges and courses?
Um,
Maybe.
Off the top of it, I've never really looked into that, but
Yeah.
I could. I think if it's accredited, I think it should be fine.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah.
Very cool. And do you just use Vipkid, right? I know that there's other platforms out there.
Yeah. So I know there are some people who kind of
Do a
try to
bunch.
uh, juggle two different platforms. I'm not that organized that I feel like I would double book myself, and I would have like a 6 a.m. slot on two platforms, and then I'd be stuck trying to teach two. And once I just have to pick one. So you can. I don't personally do that. I just stick to Vipkid, and I've kind of built up a base now that it fills my needs.
Got you. Very, very cool. Um, all right. And you said that it's like 95% Chinese kids, right?
Yeah. So yeah, the majority is Chinese. I've had some from other Asian countries, and in even the Canadian or American kids, they're Chinese Canadian or Chinese American.
And obviously, I mean, maybe you do, but you don't speak Chinese, right? So
Nope, it's full
their
immersion.
it's full immersion. So their English must be pretty decent, even at like, right?
Yeah.
Or is it? Yeah.
So when I teach the older kids, they already do have a background. They do learn Chinese. They learn English in school. So there is some background. I know for the very little ones, you could be starting from zero, and basically you got to use kind of your teaching skills and tools. So using lots of visuals, body language to kind of explain things. And when you're starting really low, it is very basic. So it is just kind of getting them to learn the basics: how to say hello, how to tell you how they're feeling, what
That's
do they like.
that's so great. So if the little kids literally know zero English, are you using like pictures and then like a like the same word in Chinese and then translated and then you're kind of showing it to them? Or are you like,
Not even the word in Chinese. they kind of discourage using Chinese in the classroom because they want it to be full immersion. So say if I'm teaching the color red and I want them to say, this is red, but they don't know what red is. So I show like maybe a red ball or an apple and show many different like kind of examples of things that are red, um, to
Gotcha.
to explain it to them. They do also provide PowerPoints and slides to go through. So it is their curriculum, and they do have already some visuals that you can use to teach the content. But we also have to provide our own. So there is a little bit of planning involved. So people use like props, and they use their body language to explain some verbs and stuff. I use digital props, so I use things like Google Slides, and then I use like a video capture to project that onto like over my camera, so they can see it.
And I was gonna ask, is it over Zoom or do they have their own video platform that they use?
It's their own platform. So when you start with them, you download the Vipkid app on your desktop,
Got it. Okay.
and you
Very
can also
cool.
teach on iPad.
That's awesome. Um, Very cool. It's fascinating. This, yeah. Um, I'm trying to think if I have anything else I wanna ask you. I think we covered it all.
Okay, cool.
Lucas, thank you for coming on. That was really, really interesting. For anybody, oh, this was the last thing I wanted
Yeah,
to ask you.
absolutely.
Do you have a background in teaching?
Yes. So I did my 4-year degree in English, in like English literature, and then I did a 2-year teacher's education program.
Okay, got it.
And then I taught abroad for 2 years, and then I came back and started doing this.
I was gonna say because you sound like you'd be a good teacher, so just by talking to
Well, thank you.
you. But for those listening, you don't need a teaching background. You just need some form of a degree. Now, when you say some form of a degree, um, I mean, if somebody had like an engineering degree, would they be able to? Does it need to be like
Yeah.
something in arts or?
No, it can be anything.
Hmm,
Like I've seen someone, they say I'm doing my PhD in some sort of,
in neuroscience?
yeah, like biology or some sort of science. Um, so yeah, it's literally just being able to the big skills that they're looking for is being able to communicate with someone who is not fluent in the language potentially. A passion, they want to see your passion, they want to see your patience, because you are working with kids, and you do want to try and grow them.
Yeah,
Like they're coming to you for to
get
they're
better.
coming to you to learn, and they don't want someone who is gonna just kind of speed through the material, want to get it done, and not really assess if they're getting it. Like you got to be able to kind of gauge how they're doing and slow down or speed up depending on their needs.
Yeah,
And
very,
you got to
very.
have fun with it, because
Your kids.
they also, yeah, well, you're working with kids, but also these kids sometimes have very busy schedules, and they're very academically challenged in school and like with their extracurriculars. So if you can be that 25 minutes in their day that is fun, and where they can learn something but also enjoy it, then that's great for them too.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. So do you notice that the Chinese kids are more disciplined and have more stuff going on in their schedule than the other kids that you've taught in the past? Like, what's
Yes.
your yeah?
So they're very busy kids. You will get a lot of, what did you do today? I went to school. I did homework. I've had kids tell me about all the extracurriculars they do. I've had kids doing a class in their car as they're going to another class. He's like, I'm going to tennis lesson right now, but I need to do this class. So yeah,
Oh,
I've done classes from many different places.
that is
The
very cool.
mall, the golf course.
Yeah, they can just do it right on their phone.
Yeah, they do it on their iPads mostly. Yeah, so it's easy for them.
Yeah, very cool. All right, well, Lucas, thank you for coming on. This was awesome, and yeah, maybe 6 months down the line or something, we could check in, see how things are going, and yeah, take it from
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right, everybody. Thank you, Lucas.
Bye.
Peace.